Hi. I hope you've been doing well. It's been crazy this last month. I will talk a little bit about myself and my recent PhD story and how I got into knitting. So if you are not interested in all the personal stuff, you can move a little bit ahead and see me talking about this beauty somewhere in the middle of the video, I think. But if you're still interested in all the personal stuff, please stay here. I started my PhD in 2013 and I was working in a small group in the Research Institute, Zenkenberg Museum in Frankfurt, and the problem was that the group was really small and there was no one who could really guide me, because I was also new to the whole population genetics topic and the molecular biology that was coming with it. And back in Ukraine we studied this whole thing in theory, but I never had like hands-on experience, and for me it was difficult because also the expectations that you could feel around, like people expecting you to perform, and I did my best and everyone was super happy, but then I was running tired and anxious and depressed, being away from my family and from my husband, who at the time lived in Hungary. So yeah, it's been a lot and I didn't really realize it. I just kept going. I focused on knitting, switched a little bit my attention, and I think I ran myself into a burnout by the time I had to leave Frankfurt in 2017. So the moment I settled here in Haarlem, it felt like a relief. I was so happy. I couldn't do anything regarding my thesis. I didn't want to open emails. I will get like anxiety attacks, and yeah, I just shut down from everything related to my thesis. And I spent like that almost 2 years, like, doing basically nothing to finish it. I thought I gave up, really. I didn't see the point. It was very tough. And then I think it was 2020 or end of 19 when a colleague of mine who started later in the department, she said that she is ready to submit and she was ready to defend. And that was I think it was already the time that I could think back and analyze and maybe like start doing something again. And also like this trigger that she's able to do this and she's already like done it, so it's possible. And I was I think it was like an ego thing that I had to do it, and also the pressure from the family. Like, they wouldn't tell you directly, but you know that your family is expecting you to finish. I don't know, it's difficult. So yeah, I sat down and I don't remember how long it took me. It has taken me like a month, definitely, like a full month to write it, and then a couple of rewrites every time my thesis will come back completely read and I will have to rewrite and correct. And yeah, it's been fun. But the moment you get into it, you start writing, there's like half of the completion, because yeah, that was the most difficult part, to get back into the topic and really start writing. On the other hand, I also think that this time off, it gave me some perspective. I had a chance to step aside and look at what I did just from the outside, because when you are focused on something and you are so deep into the topic, you just don't see the broader picture. And for me, writing thesis was something like putting your research into a wider perspective, explaining complicated things in a more simple way. Yeah, just explaining how exactly this research contributes to what we know already about the topic. So it was important to take this step back and look at it as an outsider a little bit, because when you're too close, it doesn't do you any good, and this constant pressure to finish, to submit manuscripts, to do something, and then like other things and this and that, and yeah, it's very tough. I don't know, I think when I started PhD, I had no idea what it is going to be and what exactly it will require, and what the future will be. Because when I look at it now and imagine myself doing a postdoc somewhere, that's like, postdoc contracts are 2 years tops. So every 2 years you will need to find a new job, new place, move, and in those 2 years you're not just working 2 years, like the last year of your 2-year contract you're already starting to look for the next one. So it's a constant pressure to find a job, to do it well, to have results. Yeah, I'm probably just not that person. First of all, I don't want to put myself through this. Second of all, I don't want to put my family through this. And third, I'm probably not so much interested in the topic, because if I was a fanatic, like many of my professors are, then maybe it makes sense, it justifies. If I was as passionate about lichens as I am at this moment about knitting, I could have done this, but probably I wasn't. So yeah, this kind of things you realize when you go through it. It's not like I could have made this decision when I was in my early 20s. When I finished my master, everything was easy. I got the scholarship and I just went with it. It was like a flow, and never put too much thought into why I'm doing this. Strange. Well, never mind. Here it is, my beautiful, beautiful dissertation. I am finishing up with the library and university stuff to get my diploma, and then I can officially call myself a doctor. So this is a nice, this is the thickness of it, but it's there is not so much writing as you could expect, because in biology you need to publish, in Germany in biology you need to publish 3 articles, and I had 4 published. So it is mostly already published in the scientific journals, and you had to write like about 30 to 50 pages of like general explanations and putting your results into context. So yeah, it's done. I had to defend my thesis online via software like Zoom, and it was in a way much nicer than if I had to do it in person. We had a very small group of the committee and some students from the department, and I felt it very, very intimate in a way. Like it was very sweet. You could get like a more personal conversations with each of the members of the committee, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm surprised to say it, but I did enjoy the defense. Yeah, so that was done, and now the last paperwork and submitting the copies to the library, and that will all be over. What will I do next? No clue. For now, I'm not ready to commit to a postdoc and move my family somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I'm turning into like a village girl who wants to sit on the farm and no more big cities, travel stress and things like that. But that might change, you never know. And unfortunately, Netherlands does not have so many opportunities for like enologists. So that will definitely mean if I want to stay in like enology, I will need to move somewhere, which is not feasible at the moment. Also with Corona, all my friends who are pursuing academia are now really stuck in between jobs or really struggling to find something new because nobody is hiring and movement between countries has stopped, so that's been really tough for many. So if you are writing your thesis right now, good luck. I know many of my Instagram followers asked what to do, recommendations. My main advice would be to take a step back, maybe, I don't know, take 2 weeks vacation or something, read a book that will give you a nice overview of the topic or something, and then see how you can interpret your results in like a bigger picture. I can't stress this enough. I didn't have this before. When I was so close to the data, I couldn't see really the bigger picture. So for me that was very important. And also having other theses as an example also helps to see how different people organize their thoughts into chapters. That was also challenging for me, because when you have so many different aspects of what you did and to put it into one very logical, like with chapters flowing into chapter, like into like almost a book, it takes some thinking and understanding what exactly you want to say. Yeah, good luck if you are pursuing this. It is a really tough job. I would spend hours and hours in the lab doing very precise procedures, following protocols, and I picked up needles when I think I was looking for a hat. I had a good one and then it was worn out, and I thought like, oh my god, all these hats, they are all acrylic, so if you want something pure wool, you have to make it or pay like crazy amount of money. And I felt like I can do it, like it's so easy. It's just like you knit it around a tube and then you make it together and then it's like a hat. So yeah, I started with a hat. I learned how to knit a long time ago when I was a kid. My mom used to knit a lot of things back in the 90s when I was small. We didn't have much things to buy when the USSR fell apart. Ukraine was a very poor country, and I mean it still is, but we didn't even have like regular stuff to buy. We had to buy things and then second-hand shops when it was brought from other countries. So yeah, my mom was knitting a lot, making sweaters and socks and hats and scarves, everything for the whole family. And I think she also took it very creatively. I had like very unique things that I'm not sure. I think she kept some of them, but I don't think I have pictures with me here. So yeah, that was when I learned how to knit, like the basics. But my first projects were of course something like, I think it was socks, but the socks that are not knitted in the round, but the ones that are knitted flat and then sewn on the inner side. It was crazy because I could make it, but I couldn't make the second one to match the first one. This is something that I'm still struggling with, and the moment I realized that you could knit in a round and you could knit on a magic loop with like 2 sleeves at the same time or 2 socks at the same time, that saved my life, and then I was hooked on knitting. Otherwise, I really struggled to have 2 things with the same tension. For some reason, I don't know, I think it's also connected to my side. Like I have this how do you call this? So one of my eyes has lower vision than the other one, and I never see a straight line, so it always goes like, and that's how I explain why I can't make two things the same. But yeah, hats was my everything, and I started with hats, and knitting it around was such a savior. And yeah, I would come back from work and lock myself in for the whole weekend and knit and knit, and at some point I had so many things made that I opened an Etsy shop. Well, before that we also tried I asked my husband to join me, and we tried some flea markets in Frankfurt. It was ridiculous. So we tried to sell my knits that were piling up on the shelves, and like I gifted them to almost like everyone I knew. It was really an obsession, and I didn't know where to go with it. And yeah, my Etsy shop didn't do very well. And but I kept knitting, so I was making also sweaters for myself, and at some point I was writing down my notes and publishing patterns, just giving them away for free, just to learn something, to get some feedback and share. And yeah, then when in 2017 we moved, my contract ran out in Frankfurt, so I had to find another place or another job or anything, and my husband got a job here in Amsterdam. So yeah, we moved to Haarlem, and I for the first time I had nothing to do basically, and I focused on knitting. I learned so many things. This was the time when I started properly writing down my patterns, and then I think like the very first ones were like the ones that I'm not ashamed of were published in that year. To be honest, I still look back at them and feel like I had to sit down and rewrite them properly, because yeah, the very first things were just like self-tested, really low quality of, like for now I see it as low quality patterns. Yeah, and that's how it all unraveled. I couldn't imagine it going that way, never really. And yeah, funny how life can bring you to the right place. So this is my Between Petals pullover, which I also see more like a blouse. If it wasn't so rustic, I would call it a blouse, with these beautiful sleeves that are very full, yet they pass into my jacket, so it's not a problem really. And it's a cropped length with this nice color work on the hem, and a beautiful yoke. I called it Between Petals, but I think it was the name would be closer if I called it like between stems or something like that, because this repeat is inspired by those invisible movements of flowers to the light. You see that the line is not straight, it goes a little bit like it's actually true, the flowers are making those movements every day when the sun is moving and the light is changing. So this is very sweet. This yoke has this pullover has a very unusual construction, and many of my testers were surprised. So it is knit. The yoke is knit bottom up, and the rest is knit top down. So you cast on with a provisional cast on the whole yoke, which for many was so confusing. Like I got so many messages like, there's so many stitches, it's so wide, it's not gonna fit. Well, it fits, guys, trust me. So you cast on it here, and then you do the color work up to the neck, and then you return to the body and the sleeves and the shaping. Why I did it so? That's also a very often question. I did it this way because very often I don't have a clear idea when I start something. So I probably had, well, I had the beginning of the color work. I knew how it was supposed to look, but this part actually designed itself on the way. So how I design usually is I have this kind of graph paper when I doodle different things, and from there I just knit. And when you knit bottom up, it gives you the space to change the color work in whatever way you like. You see it better, at least I see it better. So for me it was just easier to come up with the finished result, and I really enjoyed it because one thing is to have it on the paper and the other thing is have it on your needles. It looks very often, it looks different, and you have to adjust things on the go. And if you start from the top down, excuse me, and if you start from the top down, it's not so easy. You need to have a more clear picture because yeah, you need to have it all clear, because you need to calculate where you will do the increases and everything. So for me that is more complicated, and I think yeah, I actually think that I might do it more often. Just design the yoke bottom up, and then for the pattern probably write it top down, because that's a more preferred way of knitting. So in the pattern I also included instructions and well, not the written instructions but the chart how to knit it top down, so you could also knit the whole thing top down. That's no problem. Yeah, fun, right? Well, I'm using for the main color here, I'm using Einband, Loppy Einband yarn, held twice, which is I think it's a lace weight yarn, but it's really too thin to do anything on its own, I think, and I held it double. And this raspberry color is a Ukrainian yarn that I got back in Ukraine, like, I don't know, when we were traveling, 2019 I think, and it comes like in a huge skein of 200 grams, and yeah, I have most of it left, but I will definitely use it. It's a very rustic yarn, and the whole thing turned out very rustic, but I think I like it. It holds the shapes very well, and if I never wear sweaters close to the body, so I always have some layer underneath, so that it's like a little bit itchy. It doesn't really bother me. Yeah, the yarn is called Etno Natura from Vivceri, and it's quite okay. I enjoyed working with it. I don't know where you can buy it. I know many Etsy shops are selling it, but I think it's a very, very good price quality ratio. So you get a lot of yarn for rather little amount of money, but I can't say anything about the way it's produced, or yeah, how it's sourced. Ukraine does not have a very well-established culture of yarn production, I think. We have sheep in the west, in the mountains, and there's a big tradition of weaving there with a sheep yarn. They make beautiful carpets and like special like covers for the beds and everything. Very beautiful, but really knitting yarn is not big in Ukraine, so I can't really say. But I have it and I used it, and I really like the color. it suits me. This glass is also from Frankfurt. If you've ever been to Frankfurt, there is this skyscraper which has exactly the same windows structure, and this is from Apfelwein glass. Yeah, sweet memories from the times we could travel and go somewhere. I actually went and found one of the first things that I made. I think this one was the very first hat that I knitted. It's very worn out already, like super old, and my first color work was really not worked well. The tension is, you see how it's gathered here, so yeah, not really good done, very well done, but well, I was so happy with it, and I think I could still wear it and it will look reasonable, right? It looked much better than everything that was on the market, and I was really proud of myself. So this started the whole series of floral hats on my Etsy store. And then I started for my Etsy shop. I also started making headbands, and this one was one of the first ones. This is the herringbone pattern, and it's so easy to make, and I was addicted. It actually suited me well, and I've been wearing those like all the time. Yeah, so this one is still available as a pattern somewhere on Ravelry and on Etsy, and yeah, this one is like a memory. I think I also have this in a pattern. But yeah, it's very basic. So if you're a beginner, this is the place to start. And also for the color work, if you've never tried anything with color work, this is the place to master the skill. I learned it that way just by doing. My insides actually didn't look so bad. You see? Not too bad. Even though here with the white one, you can see that some clothes are not properly caught, but yeah, it's been a learning curve. And if we look now at yeah, we can look at this one. Ugh. Yeah, I wrote in the pattern that the neck could be rather narrow for some people. I like it close here, but in size 1 and 2 it can run rather narrow, so there are options to modify that as well. Yeah, if we look at the inside, this one is a beautiful one. I could wear it inside out. Yeah, I know that many people, especially from like Russia and Russian speaking countries, they like to see the insides, because yeah, it tells you something about the knitter, if the skill of a knitter. So I am proud with my insides. Crazy. Yeah, I made a mistake with holding einband, 2 strands of einband from the same skein, so like from the beginning and from the end, and that gave me this you see how the fabric is not straight but goes sideways, like a little bit leaning. You see it? Can you see it? Yeah, and that's only happened on the sleeves because that's how I knitted them on the magic loop, and from like each sleeve from one skein, and yeah, that's how my sleeves turned out. not as great as I could have, but it doesn't bother me the way that I would re-knit the whole thing. But you see that the body is nice straight, and then the sleeves are not so straight. So yeah, if you use 2 strands of ain band, take them from 2 different skeins, because the way the thread is spun, it gives too much twist, and then when you have 2 strands and with like so much twist, it distorts the end fabric, the stockinette fabric. Maybe it's not so seen in the if you do some patterning or yeah, but with the stockinette you can see it. With this beauty, there's also a way to modify the neck, and especially if you start from the top down, it could be an option to knit like a few rows of simple ribbing, because if you cast on it and the edge is rather loose, it can start rolling, and that is not super nice. So if you wanna start from here, or if you are using the yarn that it's soft and that this crochet bind off that I'm using, and that this the chains that the decorative chains that I recommend to make, they don't work, they don't hold the yarn very well, then it's really advisable to make a few rounds of simple ribbing to have the neck more, to have it nicer. I think one of my testers made like even 10 rounds of ribbing, and it looked super nice. So that's also a very nice option to modify if you don't like this sloppy edge. Because I use this rustic yarn, it doesn't roll, so that's not a problem here. But if you use like a softer yarn, that could be a case. And yeah, then I also have this beautiful edging on the cuffs and on the hem. This is just the reverse stockinette and a purl bind off, which gives you this nice edge and a little pop of color on the edges. Yes, I think that's it basically. One more very important thing happened this month. With one of my Instagram followers, we translated the pattern to, well, she translated the pattern to German, and my mom's cardigan is now available in German as well. This is something that I found so amusing, and I could never imagine my patterns being translated to different languages, but I got like lots of emails with people offering their services to translate my patterns to many other languages. So stay tuned, we will have some more languages available for, I think for Florarium we will have it in Spanish soon, and yeah, I will slowly start translating my patterns to Russian that I can do myself. But yes, it's so exciting and so unbelievable. I'm very grateful, really, I'm very grateful for your support and for the way my life changed thanks to knitting community. Yeah, if you don't know this one, it's I've been living in it for this is like a huge coat that you could use as a blanket and anything you really want. It's huge, it's warm. This one is made in Alafos Lopi, held together with I think it was dropped silk mohair, 1 strand, and yeah, it's knit on like a big needle, so you can see how airy it is, and it's so light and cozy and squishy. Yeah, I love it. This is like a morning coat and evening coat, and whenever I feel like I need an extra hug and like a, yeah, it's super nice. I really like it. And I gave away the old one, the original one. This one was originally a design of my mom. She made it herself, and she's been wearing that cardigan for years and years. And then like 5 years ago or so, I picked it up from my grandma's house and have been also wearing it for a while, and it's been really like worn too. There was almost nothing left from the wool and I think only the polyester or something that was in the wool that was left, well, I said goodbye to it, and it will go to the textiles recycling finally. Because yeah, I try to reuse everything. For instance, this one was a sweater as well, and it turned into a nice cushion. I just cut off the hands, the sleeves, and sewn it, and super nice. Nothing goes to waste here, but that one already had its life. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being here if you are a Patreon. Thank you for supporting me. If you are not yet, please check my Patreon page and maybe I don't know, buy a cup of coffee for me. That's always very welcome, since we can't see each other in real life these days. A virtual cup of coffee is always welcome. And if you're watching this on YouTube a little bit later, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to see new videos, and follow me along. Thank you very much, and stay safe and take care.